Well, which one do you want to start with? Which game do you want to start with?
Okay, I
I
think
I, I think I think let's start with the obvious one. The
yeah.
like the one that went to extra time, right? Like I mean that's the one that brought more excitement and joy to us. What you think of that, Omar?
Porto 2-1
What a
ahead.
mess.
Oh my God. Porto 2-1 ahead. 1-0. It looked like, the tie is being put to bed, and then second half comes, that red card comes, and everything's
Red card.
that changed the
Okay.
game. That changed the
Okay, let's
game.
just pause here. The
Mm.
red card. Let's talk about the red card. I remind you of anything? A
Robin Van
certain night in
Persie.
a certain night in the sunny Spain.
I mean, there were fans there. What's the excuse now?
Yeah, he was like, I remember very clearly, right? He after in the post match interview, he was talking to the media and he was like, "There are 80,000 fans. I'm trying to tell the referee that there are 80,000 fans," and like that makes sense, right? Like, you know, and I think in that situation, he was. I mean, Van Persie was also just having a shot at goal. He knew he was offside. He was just like
For
having a shot
sure,
at goal
yeah.
anyways. And he got second yellow carded and he got sent off. And what about today? This guy was just taking the piss.
Do you think that should have been a second yellow, or was that a bit too harsh?
Oh, no, not a no, no. Come on, like that that changed the game.
That changed the game.
That changed the game. If um like Juve, like for the first, they had nothing. I know Morata had a chance in the second minute or third minute where he just headed it straight to the keeper, and until the until that moment, they really didn't. And also like sets you back if you're Porto, right? Now you have to go with 10 men, and then you have to go into extra time, which was worse. But no, it's not a red for me. I don't think the ref should have given it unless if this guy does it like repeatedly, right?
Mm.
Not on your first time.
I think
Like
it's one of those where the referee has to assess the situation, like the scenario he's put in, like it's a big game, it's a big Champions League game,
yeah,
and in this moment, like this can completely turn the tie, and well, it did, and it looked like for a
it
while that,
it
yeah.
almost did, almost did. Spoilers. um, but like I mean, like was like I can sympathize with the referee as well. Like maybe the referee is just pissed, right? Like this guy has been in his face. No, just think about it, right? If you're
This
the referee, right? This guy has been kicking the ball around, and he's been swearing, shouting. He's been in the ref's face. He's been taking the ref off like the whole game, and he does something like he makes one step out of line, and the ref's like, showers, go. I don't want to see your face.
I mean, yeah, it could be a case of, the referee just wanting to show his authority. I'm not going to be bossed around.
Maybe, but that's also abuse of authority too. If it's that too, but wow.
I
But
mean, it wasn't, the thing is that it wasn't a clear sign of time wasting, was it? Like, you can't,
it's kicking the ball away.
it's
It's not
kicking,
time wasting. It's
yeah.
kicking the ball away. It's not they're not they're linked a lot of the times because sometimes you would kick the ball away to
Waste time.
like waste time, but it's also like showing dissent, like
Mm.
not being very like
Sportsmanship behavior or
sportsman like
whatever. Yeah.
exactly. So the lack of that also that also puts it to it for sure. But well, the guy's through to the next round, and he's gonna miss that
He's gonna miss the.
unless if they appeal it.
Wait, so does he only miss one leg, or does he
One
miss
game, yeah, he
one? Okay.
misses one game. He misses one game.
All right. So then the comeback was on. Kaisa with 2 goals.
Man, I'm telling you, this Juve team is a bunch of wastemen. I swear, except for this kid. Except for this kid. I don't watch a lot of Serie A, but I watched him against Milan. the Derby d'Italia or whatever they call it, I think. And I watched it, and he scored 2 goals back then as well. I think it was like a 2-0, and it was just him doing all the work. And even today, none of the big names, your Ronaldos, your Moratas, your, Bonucci's, like, none of them,
Bonucci
like,
got subbed off. That's how bad he was.
he gave a penalty too. Like, he gave the penalty too. So, I don't know, man. I think, like, the whole club's a mess. They have a few good things going for them. This Weston McKennie guy is decent too. They just signed him. They got Kaisa. They got like a couple of like good things going for them. But as long as you keep Buffon and Bonucci and one of like you're gonna become a retirement home, and that's what Juve are right now. They're a retirement home, and retirement homes don't generally pass the first stage of knockout.
They're more.
They like to go to bed early, right? So
Make sure the tie is over in the round of 16, so you're in bed every night by
yeah,
8 p.m.
they don't want to be like going around town too late.
Early dinners at 5 with Bonucci and Buffon.
B&B does not stand for bed and breakfast anymore.
Do you think this? I mean, these players, they're not bad players. We've seen Rabiot.
They're
We've
not
seen
good either.
No, but they're not bad players. Do you think there's something to do with the coaching and the management? I mean, since the start of the season, Pirlo's come in, and let me tell you, some of the football they've played has just been. Well,
It's
I don't know how to summarize it. It's just been terrible.
I know players get tested, drug tested, and everything to check for, uh, influential substances. Do you think Pirlo should also get tested?
What's he gonna be tested for?
I don't know. I'd say like a couple of wine, like
A bit too much.
you'll find you'll find a little bit of pee in his wine. I'm talking about the urine test, of course. Like, I mean, I don't know. That guy has no. Like, I don't know. Like, why is he even the coach of Juve? Like, they just woke up. It's like he has nice hair. Let's
He has a nice hair, a
put him
nice
on.
beard. He's got a nice biography out. I think, therefore I play.
I think therefore I play
You can, as a player, you can play the PS2 all
before the World
afternoon
Cup final.
before the World Cup final, but I don't think that works as a manager.
I think he's still doing that.
Yeah, no, he definitely is, because this
I
is
think
terrible.
I think therefore I manage.
Mm.
First page. Champions League knockouts against Porto. In the afternoon I turn on my PS5, play a little bit of FIFA 21, and in the evening I go and get it knocked out
Go and get knocked out.
by Marega and Co.
Let's talk about Porto, and let's talk about a certain defender that you might be a little familiar with.
Legend.
I'm talking about Malang Sarr, of course. Chelsea loanee at Porto, off the bench. What a performance!
Came on like in like 80th minute, I think 70th minute
Yeah,
after the sending off.
yeah. No, but seriously, Pepe. Wow, he has not aged at all, has he?
Man, I keep telling people in 2016 he was the best player in the world. And people don't like, they think I'm kidding, but I'm not. I'm dead serious when I say this. Pepe was the best player in the world in 2016, and we let him go in 2017.
That was the first of the 3 Champions Leagues, right? That
It was the
season.
first of the 3 Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
He was immense in the Champions League. He was immense in Portugal's win to the Euros. I
Mm.
think he was Portugal's best player. It
Oh,
wasn't
for
Ronaldo.
sure.
It was
Oh, for
Pepe.
sure.
He was the rock at the back. Like, like how do you think, France didn't score?
Mm.
right? With all that attacking power and whatnot, right? It was this guy. It was Pepe, and even in the Champions League, it was Pepe. Everywhere you looked, it was him. I think he was the best player we had in 2016, and we let him go in 2017, and we let him go because of Real Madrid's policy of like
Not giving
renewing
more than one
for
year.
like just 1 year if you're above the age of 30,
Mm.
and he wanted 2 years, and it's been like what, 4 years since,
Yeah.
and
Right
the
now,
fact
he.
that the fact that I have to see Nacho start, and I would have been a lot happier to see like 40-year-old Pepe start. Like, um, I think the way he played tonight, he's probably like a top five center back. Like the way he played tonight,
Was immense. There's a lot of players who are like leaders by example and then leaders by voice. This guy is both. He's like a mix of both, and
and he's not extra. He's not like certain players where he just shouts at people for
Mhm.
no reason. He's not like that. He's I use these words very carefully, but he is calm when like leading, when he has responsibility. No, he does.
Pepe,
He
the
is.
guy who started kicking,
Listen, just cause he's been just
a
cause
bad
he's
boy,
been like,
a naughty boy.
yeah, no, he's like he's made his amends from that. Like couple of instances, like once where he lost his head and he had like that, and that's been used against him for his career. But he was like 20, like 23 at that time. Like he was not like the man he is now. That incident was like over 14 years ago, 13 years ago, right?
No, but
So
like
you can't.
honestly, it's one thing having like a bad attitude, but I don't think anyone can ever question his professionalism or his quality as a defender, He's always
No,
been
he,
up
he doesn't
there.
he doesn't he doesn't have a bad attitude either. He
No,
doesn't.
no.
He's a very professional. He's always played, and he's always been a, like, a team player. Always been like, to back up your teammates in like every single situation. Um, I remember his his what's it called, scuffles with Diego Costa, right?
Mm.
Like he would get into it with Diego Costa, and both of them would like fight,
Go at
like
it. Yeah, just
go
go at
at
it.
it. Yeah,
Spit at
but he
each
would
other,
never.
elbow each other, eye gouge each other. It
Yeah,
was it was
but
some great stuff.
exactly. But they would never, you know, go beyond that. They
Yeah.
wouldn't like,
There's like a
exceed
line
like.
to it, and they never crossed it. And like honestly, that's the way to go. Like don't cross that line. Get into the other
Yeah,
player's head. I mean, not with each other specifically, but like others, get into their
others.
heads,
Yeah,
but just don't cross that line. And they both were like the masters of that art. Luis Suarez, another
yeah,
one.
but yeah, exactly. Luis Suarez, another one, and he really is. Like you saw that similar, like, Luis Suarez doing that in the Madrid derby,
Mm.
uh, getting Varane on a yellow, or like midway in the second half, and from that words onwards, Varane didn't make a single tackle, just because he got him on a soft yellow. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to risk getting sent off. So, but Pepe tonight, uh, like I know Ronaldo isn't what he used to be, and Morata isn't the greatest striker the world of football has
Morata,
ever
on the other
seen.
hand, is exactly what he used to be.
But it's just like, I'm just looking at the expected goals that Juve had. Juve should have scored 4 goals today,
Wow.
by XG, right? The expected goals.
Mm.
And if you think about the types of goals they scored 2 headers and one very good finish. So like the expected goals to come out of those situations was very, very low. The ones
So
that they
it's
actually managed to score.
mm,
So the ones that
they
like they had
missed.
good chances on, they
Mm.
missed, is thanks to defense. But that guy, like I because I wish Porto go far too. The It's always fun to have that one club. You know, last year we had Lyon. The year
Mm.
before that we had Spurs. We had Ajax. The year before that we had Roma. You know, you always have these clubs that kind of go far, and you kind of want them to keep on like succeeding, which is always fun.
Last year we had Leipzig as well, right? And
Yeah,
Atalanta.
we had Leipzig as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Atlanta got far.
I think they
Leipzig
got
got
to
to
the
the semis though.
quarters, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think,
sure. I
yeah,
can't
but the
remember.
quarters are
Yeah.
just like the next round, so
Yeah.
it's not
I
that
mean, it's
hard.
more than you'd expect them to normally.
I mean,
So
getting to
yeah,
the semis at least, right? Like
yeah.
that's something. Like you look at all these teams, Ajax getting to semis and just narrowly missing out. Spurs getting to the final, and Roma, like that night in Rome. So I wish Porto like do something similar as well, because that's what makes the competition, what makes cup competitions, you
So
know,
yeah,
oh,
like
exciting
imagine not watching football, just missing out on nights like tonight, actually, even because that was some incredible drama in
dreadful,
both games, actually.
dreadful.
But let's talk about
Definitely.
that free kick, the last free kick, which excellent strike or Wojciech Szczesny just being Wojciech Szczesny.
No, that's way too far out. That's way too far
That's
out. I think a keeper could have cleared it with his feet. Uh, I don't. Way too far out. Like, I know I'm exaggerating, but like that's way too far out. Like, for under the wall and everything. But God, like
but
I'm telling you,
even
this team is just. Uh, it makes no sense. Like how this team won the league last year. Like that might just tell you the situation of Serie A right now. But like like these players, the way they're playing, it's like you know they're playing casual football. It's like they're not taking it seriously. It's literally like they're not taking it seriously.
see like these free kicks that go under the wall. I think we saw Coutinho do one for Bayern, and usually they're hit very like strong. They're very powerful and they're slightly off the ground, so the power like it
Slightly,
goes
it
through. But
bounces a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
today it was on the ground. It didn't go in the air at all. And
No, but I think the one that also Coutinho hit, like it was kind of near. It was like on the edge of the box,
it was
right?
very, yeah.
In those kind of situations, like the box is so packed, everything's like um, the goalkeeper is like on the line. He's like probably looking up, what's going on, and the goalkeeper can be caught off there. And usually, whenever these free kicks do go in, the goalkeepers are caught off, and they just remain standing still.
Or
I
since
remember.
or since when the free kick is so close to the box, they're usually at the other post, like standing there and put like a
Yeah,
very 5-6 man wall right in there. But that was not the case today.
yeah, and he could have saved it as well. Like he got a hand to it, and even then he couldn't parry it away. Like he got a full hand to it. It's not like he got his fingertips. He got a full hand to it, and he just pushed it into the net, his own net. Uh, Very strange.
Very strange. But there you have it. Juventus out of the Champions League against 10 men Porto. Now let's move on to Borussia Dortmund against Sevilla. We saw two up and comers in Kunde and Haaland go at each other. Uh,
I think those two weren't the only. I mean, I think today was just that game was just insane. Sevilla started off for the first 30 minutes, an assault after another assault after another assault. They were like, it felt like they were out for blood, and goal Borussia Dortmund scored by the one and only Erling Haaland, and you're just like, when is this guy gonna stop?
when is this guy gonna stop? It's like Sevilla came out and they knew that they had to overcome like a 3-goal away deficit against Dortmund. Like they conceded 3 away goals and they knew, like, you know what, we need to make up for this. They were just going
Yeah,
at it.
but
And
if they just scored two, they would have gone through too. Like 2-0 would have been good enough as well. as long as they got the aggregate score on their side.
Mm.
But they came out with the right mentality. Like I was watching both of the games, and it felt like the Juve game. They were just expecting a 1-0, and they wanted to get that one goal and just go home. But Sevilla, they were out for blood, and they played well in the first 30 minutes. But Dortmund looked like a better team. Uh, well, in all four of the matches, Dortmund, no, all four of the teams in both of the matches, Dortmund looked like the best team, the best combination of players. Their defense is still shaky. You saw it today with those goals and Emre Can, but uh, it's interesting. It's interesting to see what else Haaland can bring to this tournament. I was very, very disappointed his goal was ruled out,
Oh,
because
that
that was
was
that
incredible.
was beautiful, and I don't understand like the working of things with VAR, especially since Dortmund ended up scoring. Why did they have to bring it back?
So they canceled the goal. They gave a penalty. The penalty got saved. The keeper was off the line. So they retook the penalty, and then Haaland scored again. What's the logic in that?
No, like
The initial,
listen,
yeah.
you give the penalty because it's advantage Dortmund, but Dortmund have scored. You get me?
Mm.
So VAR should play like as an advantage, like when players get fouled on in like normal play, right? Uh, you give an advantage so they can keep attacking and whatnot, and then they score. So if they score, usually you don't give the foul, or like if the play goes on, you don't give a foul. Here the play's gone on and they've scored, so why bring it back for the penalty?
And it's not even like the referee had blown the whistle where the players had just stopped. The game was going on. The game was going on. The goal
Yeah,
should have
the
stood.
game went on until Dortmund scored again, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even like recently. It was such a soft okay
But
penalty to.
no, to be honest, I mean, in that situation, if Kunde has been caught on the wrong side of Holland, I mean, why even try to,
Yeah, but Haaland was never getting that. The ball was going straight into the keeper's
it was
hands.
going straight into the keeper's hands for sure, but
So
why
there's like
even
three
give
or
him the
four different things.
opportunity? Why give him the opportunity or the
I
referee the
understand.
opportunity? Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a penalty. Like it's like clearly the refs thought it was a penalty. That's not what we're like discussing. I'm just saying like they've scored already.
Just let it
It's
be.
not it's not a red card offense or
Mhm.
anything, right? I think they gave Kunde a yellow card. They can just take the goal, give Kunde a yellow card, and then play like because you've played an advantage of sorts. The play's gone on and whatnot. But I think this is gonna be a footnote in FIFA's books today. I think this is gonna be an event where they're gonna be like, so what do we do when there's a VAR decision and we gotta like, do we play advantage or do we come back? Because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've been thinking, what if you get a penalty, right? But the play goes on. You don't get a penalty. It's a penalty offense that is going to be referred by VAR later, right? But the opposition goes on and scores. So does their goal then gets cancelled out and then you get a penalty? Like, can you imagine the 180 in emotions of the players? And if you imagine it to be a situation like this, you know, a Champions League knockout, and they need that one goal to go through, and they're celebrating like mad that they've just scored that one goal, and then it's nope, your goal is good and everything, but some guy committed a foul like 2 minutes ago. That's why we have to give it a pen.
It's actually criminal now that you think about it. When you put it like that, it's actually criminal. Toying with
Players
people's
will get
emotions.
heart attacks. Can you imagine the coach?
Mm,
Some
honestly.
coach like poor man Sorry, who's smoked 60 cigarettes a day. That guy is high risk in every way. Not only like, just just 1 minute he's qualifying to the Champions League final. The next moment, he's been knocked out because the goal doesn't stand, and it's like a foul on the other end.
And we can see how
So
he reacts in these bad situations with that whole Kepa ordeal in the League Cup final.
I mean, yeah, League Cup, such a big,
Equally as important as the Champions League, in my
equally.
opinion.
They
I mean,
both have the league in it.
Pep wins it every year, so how hard could it be?
Uh,
And
Definitely.
so that penalty gets saved. The keeper mocks Haaland. The penalty is
I
retaken.
actually didn't see that part. Actually didn't see that part.
Really? Oh
Did he
my.
actually mock Haaland?
Yeah, he went into like not directly into it, but he was at his face and just screaming, like
Okay, but keepers do that. It's not like keepers. I've always see keepers after saving it celebrate.
mm.
If it was,
Remember Tim Krul at was it the Euros or the World Cup?
World Cup 2014.
World Cup 2014.
Remember Van Gaal Masterclass, and United fans thought they had just signed the greatest tactician of all time.
He brought on a goalkeeper for a penalty shootout. But then Holland goes and does that right back at the key. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. You can take it, you can give it. It is what it is. But then the Sevilla players just started, chasing him. And the funny thing is, halfway through that chase, they realize that they can't do anything because they're gonna get
What
carded.
can they do? And one guy did get yellow carded. I don't remember who, but Haaland also got a yellow card.
Carded as well. Yes. What's going on? The modern day.
The game's
game.
gone. The game's gone. I just think, like, okay, either you allow everyone to keep up that shithousery, like you let people rub it into people's faces, because I've seen players like do it all the time. It's not an uncommon thing, and usually what happens is that there's a get together, like the other team's bad boys come and like they clash heads, and then the ref separates them, but usually there aren't any cards. Usually it's just like, all right, go do your own thing, like it's not a big deal. But showing cards here like just shows that either you can't do that anymore, right? Because you start accumulating cards, and for Haaland it might not be a problem, but if that was like a defender, right, that guy might be like accumulating 5 cards and might just miss a match, which could possibly like a Champions League semi-final or final over virtually nothing.
We've seen cards being given a bit too easily this game and the Juventus game for that red card. I mean, the second yellow. Do you think it's like an instruction for the referees, maybe? Like, UEFA have
less tolerance?
Yeah, less tolerance.
But like, I mean, both of the situations, right? Like, it wasn't necessary. Now imagine if Haaland was already on a yellow and ref sent him after scoring that goal. Like, does that make sense?
And to be honest, we've seen a lot more players like get away with a lot worse. I mean, if it was like an Adebayor kind of situation, I would say, okay, give the yellow there,
Okay, but what did Adebayor do? He didn't like do anything. He just ran the whole field to celebrate.
What a legend.
I mean, oh.
And then let's talk about.
But do you think if Adebayor did that today, like today, in the Champions League, and there's no fans.
There's no fans.
Let's assume that there's fans, and he ran that whole pitch and did that celebration and everything. Do you think he would have gotten yellow carded? I don't think he would have gotten yellow carded.
I think so. First, we saw Haaland got one today for a lot less.
Yeah, but Haaland went at Bono. He went at the goalkeeper.
I mean, he went at the keeper, that's true, but it's not like he did anything too much. He just went at him, made like that hand saving gesture, whatever the keeper was doing, and then just ran off,
That's true as well, but
I
I think
mean,
it also depends if the opponents react or not.
mm,
I think given it's that Sevilla reacted,
yeah.
it was just a way of the ref telling like, okay, calm down. Both of you get a yellow. You guys just sit down for a while.
Like, I don't understand what the new rules are. Maybe they're still the same, but I think generally the rule was about excessive celebration. And I don't know, I'd say that Adebayor one was excessive.
Slightly, do you think? I think it was just in the realms of acceptability.
Haaland, on the other hand, it's more of a provocation than it is, excessive celebration. He's a machine. He's not a human. He's actually a robot. He doesn't feel emotion. He doesn't celebrate exceedingly.
Yeah, he seemed very emotional today.
Mm. Um, but let's talk about that Sevilla late flurry of attacks. Since the 70th minute, they were just going at it and again and again. And
Yeah.
honestly, if they could have had a goal maybe a bit earlier than when they did, which was like I think in the 6th minute of additional time or something, they could have easily had like a comeback.
Not only that, but if like that save had stood, if that initial save for
Mm,
Haaland's penalty had stood, that was it. They were out, right?
yeah.
Sevilla would have gone through. But I think, yeah, like that penalty incident that Sevilla got was again like it was a soft penalty. It was a penalty indeed. Like I don't know what Emre Can was thinking. He just pushed the guy.
He
Like
seems like a very average footballer. I'm not gonna lie. Ever, s- even when he was at Liverpool, actually, Liverpool fans can hate me all they want. I'm gonna go out and say he was
I don't
very
think
average
Liverpool
for
fans are
Liverpool.
gonna hate you. He went out on a free transfer.
He went out on a free, but they were all complaining. He's a starter. He's such a great player. Blah 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 blah.
He wasn't starting.
Average.
I think he was a good successor to Joe Allen, but
Wee Joe
I
Allen.
think yeah, the Welsh Xavi, right?
Oh, Shabby.
So I think he was a good successor to Joe Allen, but what he brings on the pitch himself, um, I don't know. I don't see it. But then again, I haven't seen him play so much either. But like today, there was nothing that he did except for give away that penalty where I was like, what a guy, what a talent. Like, that guy's having a good game. And then, for example, we just talked about Pepe, right? Or like, oh, that guy had a good game. He did something outstanding, right? Um, and then there were other players we talked about. Royce was good today as well. Like I hadn't seen him have a good game in a while, and I saw him like it's something that you notice, right? Hamas was decent too, but like you notice like Amir Chan, like he was very average. Um, just pushing a player, giving away a penalty, you know, just give them the chance. I think, and once they scored, it helped them out a lot. Just you know, give them the confidence that oh, we can get another one. It was a late flurry. If perhaps they had netted in that 30 minutes, in that initial 30 minutes, I think they spent a lot of the energy attacking, but they didn't, you know, end up with something. They didn't end up with like a goal out of it. They just crossed the ball and cleared the first line. But yeah,
But it was like a lot of end-to-end stuff. Unlike that Juve Port. I mean, that game was good too. Don't get me wrong, but you could
I mean
just
you were
tell.
watching both of the games, right?
Yeah, had them side by side.
Which one did you enjoy more until the 90th minute? Like
Honestly, first half I think it was the Sevilla Dortmund one. Second half I'd give it to the Juve Porto one. But
really?
yeah, but I mean that Haaland penalty shenanigans
Yeah,
all did
all
happen
of
in
that
this.
shenanigans happened in the second half,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah. I thought you would have said like no Sevilla,
Sevilla Dortmund.
Dortmund hands down.
Yeah, no, no. I would say over the like if you had to account for both halves, I would definitely say the Dortmund Sevilla game. It was a lot better. I mean, the first half of the other game, it was so dull. Juve were
Yeah, it was like a soft
uninspiring.
penalty, and then it was just nothingness.
It was bad stuff. But the other game we talked about Pepe, and I just realized you mentioned Hummels. I mean, he had a good game. Bonucci, on the other hand, had a horrific game. You could just see the contrast in Pepe and Bonucci. You know, two players like on the end of the playing spectrum, I
End of
guess.
their career,
Yeah,
yeah.
at the end of the
And
line.
like in today's game, like given how like start young they start at 17, 18, you know, uh, they're just
Delict.
in overtime. They're in their extra time,
They're in their
extra
extra
time
time.
of their careers.
What do you think's gone wrong with Delict? Because he's not even starting anymore for Juventus. I mean, they paid a lot of money for him.
I remember he had like a terrible like start when he came to Juve initially, uh, and I just think he's never recovered, because I wanted to call him the F word, the fraud.
Oh. Okay, well, thank God that's the word you're thinking of.
My apologies. I wanted to call him a fraud. Like I thought maybe he's not it, but then I saw him play with Netherlands, and I was like, okay. Uh, and then at times he's shown like promise in some Champions League games, and you're like, okay, he can do something. Like against Lyon last season, I think he was decent too, even though they got knocked out. But there was like these flourishes, and you're like, okay, there's something. But apart from that, I think it's also the fact that he's partnered up with a guy who defends completely different way. You know, Bonucci is the Italian wall defending, just sitting back as deep as possible, like just blocking shots and clearing. Dillet has been defending a very different way, the aggressive defending, like you have to go get the ball and whatnot.
The contrast in
So that
styles between Juventus and
contrast in styles,
Ajax. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that also the contrast in styles between Juve and Ajax also like really really talks about the relationship between how Dillit and Bonucci are defending, because or like a lot of these guys, like I mean, he's still very young. He can still look for a move away. I think you should. I think you should. Uh,
Where does he go?
I mean, just off the top of my head, thinking about Ajax, two names pop up easily, right? Barcelona and City, Manchester City. I don't know if either of them have the funds. I know City probably have the funds, but I don't know if Barcelona have the funds to do that,
Barcelona don't have
because
the funds, but they'll still do it because that club is going down.
that club is going down and they're bringing down everyone with them. Um, it's also that you look at his former teammate, right? Frankie De Jong, how
Mm.
he settled in, and he was one of those breakthrough players as well. And he's just kept on getting better, and he's starting to look like a better, more mature player with consistent performances. And that's still not something that which you can say about Dillit. And it just feels like he's still 2 years of his career has been hindered, and he has not progressed as much as he would have hoped, as much as Juve would have hoped.
Mhm. I guess that's it for today's podcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe button, and hit the bell button as well. Keep your notifications on. That's a new added touch.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for listening, and until next time, which will be tomorrow because there's a big game tomorrow night. Barcelona.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow it is. Until next time, we'll catch you in the next half. Bye bye.